Hey Fred, we're out on a beautiful day today, and I'd like you to talk about something that is one of the principles of your healthy journey, because we know that the main one is what you leave out. The second one is eating freshly prepared foods, a dominance of raw foods, and a moderate percentage of cooked food. But the third one is detox and cleansing. So the question I'd like to ask you, as many other people do when they email me questions, is what do you do with a healing crisis, and how should I respond to it?
Well, the healing crisis is when your body tries to correct something that's wrong. When the body's remedial process is initiated and it takes steps to rectify some condition in your body that is not a state of good health. Now, many times I've seen over the years, I've seen people that had chronic disease or acute disease, and they were getting worse and were told that they were in a healing crisis. Well, that's not always the case. A healing crisis, when the body has generated the vital force that it takes to initiate an improvement in your chemistry, where it's going to try to correct the condition that a person has, whether they know or they don't know they have. In other words, when a person starts to leave out the processed food, for everything they leave out, there's a reciprocal amount of improvement that usually is, the improvement usually comes from some form of biological healing. Now, it could be a form of biological healing where they really don't have any awareness of it, or some physical symptom. But once, if a person that's eating a standard American diet and they go into a diet that's where they're leaving out all the processed food all the way up to an all-raw diet, they're going to go into a very good chance that they're going into biological healing or a healing crisis, which could be, the symptoms could be just about anything. They could be a little bit of discomfort, irritability, headaches, a little bit of diarrhea, could actually be constipation, a little bit of joint pain, could be flatulence, it could be just about anything. And the key is, in cases like that, a person should always have some kind of professional guidance. It's not hard to deal with, and the best way to do it, the most important thing to do to deal with a healing crisis is realize that rest enables you to generate the vital force where you have more energy for your body to carry out this remedial process. Of course, there are supplements you could take, like the probiotics and systemic enzymes, and if you're eating, digestive enzymes. But if you're into a healing crisis, sometimes it's important that you reduce your food intake, or if you have the opportunity to go on some kind of a fast under supervision. If you're going on a water fast, it should always be supervised. Years ago, people were told that if they were going on a water fast, they could go on a 7-day water fast safely. Well, that's no longer true anymore. Most likely that's the case. But I recommend that anybody that has any kind of a problem, is into a healing crisis, they need the supervision of a professional. Otherwise, they really shouldn't do it. Because lately, in the last 10 years, I've seen too many people try this and have some serious problems. Then, the other alternative is to, they could go on a liquid diet, which most people call a juice fast. And the good thing about that, it's a lot less risky, and the alkaline juices are neutralizing the endogenous acids that are being released into your system, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be limited completely in your activity. When somebody goes on a water fast, they should really shut down and close their eyes as much as they can. They possibly can get as much rest as they possibly can. Then you could just go into a lifestyle where you're just eating fruits and vegetables and juices and blended vegetables, and you could do that and just leave out the concentrated food. Or else you could just do a 3-day fast. But once you do, you're in a healing crisis, and you go back to your normal eating, whatever it is, you really want to try to go back to an improved diet. unfortunately, over the years, I've seen people go on water fast and go to fasting retreats and come back and go back to the same diet. And eventually, their problem was worse than ever. Then go on another fast and go back again. I don't recommend that. I don't encourage people to go back and forth in whatever they're doing. It's not a good idea. And my experience, and my 50 years experience, I've seen too many things go wrong. I'm not saying there are people that get away with it, but they're not really getting away with it. They just don't. They're not aware, or they don't feel what's happening. So it's very, very important that your goal, your starting point should be to give up all the processed food, because processed food is a modern day curse. It's a killer, and because it doesn't kill us all at once, we think it's okay. There's a lot of people eating plenty of processed food, and they're in their 30s and 40s and maybe even 50s, and they think they're getting away with it because they're still standing upright and walking around. But it's a good chance that it could end up being the death of a person someplace down the road, and that's how we get into the chronic and acute disease. Unfortunately, we're in a situation in this country where the food giants, they're making millions, possibly billions of dollars by taking good food and turning it into junk, and the junk food becomes addictive. No two ways about it. I think 56% of the people in this country are overweight, and 25 to 30% are obese, and on the verge of coronary artery disease, diabetes, and it's definitely, in my mind, it's definitely a factor in cancer, because I think all disease begins in your GI tract, and everybody is aware of the importance of the lower GI tract, that's relatively clean, but I don't think everybody's aware that the upper GI tract is like a second brain, and I think that's where most diseases really begin. Of course, it's the precursor to inflammation on a cellular level, which actually is where most diseases begin.